This podcast is part of the Listen Frederick Podcast Network. To learn more, visit listenfrederick.com.
The Fedora Files.
Hello and welcome to the Fedora Files. I am Gregory Fedora. So excited you're here. So this one, I'm posting this podcast a little late. If you're listening to the future, like a couple of days from now, you probably won't even notice. But I was just doing a lot of research, and I just all of a sudden realized, oh my gosh, it's time to post, and I hadn't recorded yet, and I did all this research on this subject, and I was like, dang it, let's get it out there. But before we do, don't forget, you can get a copy of one of my books from the Happy Little Monsters series. There's volume 1, 2, and 3 are now available. I'm working on volume 4 and 5. And I'm taking my time with those because there's a lot of creatures on there that are really interesting. It's taken some time to create them because, as you all know, I do all the artwork in these for all the different animals that are described, and taking my time making sure they look the way people said they were supposed to look. So what I want to talk to you about today is a phenomenon called the man in the black hat, or the black hat man. And it's this phenomenon. It's related to sleep paralysis, but people have seen this character. Like a lot of people see the old hag. Maybe one day I'll get into that subject, but I wanted to talk about the man in the black hat, because it's just an interesting phenomenon that people go through and they say they see in their dreams, or they wake up and he's holding them down. Now, I've never had sleep paralysis, but my father did before he passed away, and he had told me about some of the nightmares and stuff, and he told me that he actually had seen what is known as the man in the black hat. And he didn't call it that. He just said there was a guy there chasing him, and the man was in dark, and he had this black hat. And he remembered to say that he had a black hat. A lot of people report this. And a lot of people think this is a recent phenomenon, that this is, pre our date and age. In the 1800s is when this happened, and before that it was the old hag or the scary old man. But this black hat man phenomenon is really old. It's been around for some time. Now, what's interesting is that if you go into the folklore of the Andes Mountains, there is a villain. His name is Paistoko. I think that's how you say it. And he is described as being this monstrous being, and he wears a black hat. Now, when he catches you, he sucks your organs out of you. He's kind of vampiric, but he sucks the fat and the organs out of you, and you die a slow and painful death. And so that's in it. But there's others throughout Central Maryland. The El Sombrero I think is another one. Another man in a black hat. And even in India and Africa, throughout the Middle East and in Russia, there's these characters from folklore, and they all are known to wear long brimmed, so not even to the style of the day. It was a hat that had a big brim, and you couldn't see his eyes because of the shadow cast down on his face. And he was there. He was this evil being. And this is the same character people say they see in their dreams or when they have sleep paralysis. And so it's just an interesting phenomenon that we see throughout the ages. And what I found interesting is that I always thought this black hat man was a more recent thing, was something that was more, like I said, I actually thought it was like the 1900s, probably 1950s on up, when, you get the Men in Black thing and stuff like that. And so I always associated with Men in Black, but it wasn't. Now, I found research that said people reported having these black hat man interactions in the 1800s. And like I said, it's interesting. My dad described having a very similar experience with some sleep paralysis, having this man in a black hat coming after him. And so that was interesting. And then as I started looking into the folklore, which I love folklore and these monsters and these characters and these creatures, this was a common theme of an evil demonic force or person that was there to suck you in, kill you, take over you, whatever. He had the black hat. So I would be interested if you want to tell me if you've ever had sleep paralysis where this man in a black hat appeared. I would love to hear about it. I'd love you to tell me about it. I'd love to hear the story behind it, what it was, what happened, how, and that would be great. For me, very interesting, because I love these stories. I love this stuff. Have you ever heard of this, the black hat phenomenon, the man in the black hat? And what do you think it is? I'm leaning towards a malevolent entity of some kind, a demonic almost entity, not a benevolent and malevolent entity that is out there. And this is something I want to share with you. If any of you have ever had these experiences, please tell me about it, because that's, to me, mind-blowing and crazy. And as I see, I associate folklore with these like common themes. And one thing you'll see is like scarecrows always, they have hats. And in the movie series Jeepers Creepers, he's a scarecrow and he wears a black hat. So it's these common themes that are used because they frighten us. Black hats, shrouded in mystery, they make us nervous. And there's a reason why I did the lighting this way, so that I'd be shrouded to kind of go with the theme of the story that I'm telling you. I don't know what it is. I don't know why we have this common theme throughout the ages of this character. Who is it? Why? When did it first start? The oldest folklore creature that I could find, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce it, was in China. They had this character over a couple thousand years ago of this character who wore a black hat, who came and stole children in the night and replaced them with different versions of children, so they looked like the children, but there was something off about them. So it's just a common theme. It's very interesting. Is there a folklore or a creature or something you would like to hear more about? I'd love to know, so please let me know and I'll look it up. And remember, as always, stay safe and keep searching.
The Fedora Files.
Check out fedoracrt.com today.